right now we are getting onto the golf segment. We have Mark Namanya here who's going to take us around the world, literally from Kampala to Chigo, Nairobi to Naples. Give it to us.
I'll discuss golf in three forms. One, I'll start with the HEMA Cement Open, which is taking place at Toro Golf Club in Fort Portal. You have Joseph Chinyai, who is the defending champion there. You have HEMA Cement, who've put in 35 million shillings. There's going to cater for all the cost management fees. That is this weekend. This weekend.
Wow.
Actually, there was the Chileles event at Uganda Golf Club, which should have happened on Thursday, but it was pushed to Tuesday. It was eventually won by Walter Tukahira, the treasurer of Uganda Golf Club. He shot a round of 67. It's a pro-am event. But it was moved to Thursday to allow many elite amateurs move to Fort Portal to compete in the HEMA Cement Open, where Chinyai is the defending champion. It should be an interesting tournament. I spoke to Chinyai and asked him, who do you think is a threat for you? Because Chinyai is the national team captain and is born and raised in Fort Portal. And he said, obviously, there's the home kid, Abdul Kaketo, is also a national team golfer. And of course, Titus Okongu is quite experienced. But another wonderful tournament, which has received some good support from HEMA Cement. And it's going to feature some of the best amateur golfers we have in the country, and some of them on the national team. There's some good money, prize money, and not just for the males, even the ladies. So there's a kitty for the women, where you'll have Melon Chomugisha and Peace Kabasweka and Gloria Mbaguta and all the others competing for a share of the ladies' kitty. Of course, on 26th, we shall have also the HEMA Cement Open, which will be happening at Kilembe. Kilembe and Kasese are not far away from one another.
This month.
Of this month, yes. But the one which is happening in Fort Portal this weekend is the HEMA Cement Open for Toro. Then again on the same day at Entebbe Golf Club, you're going to have the semi-finals of the Stambik Match Play Championship, where you're going to have two very interesting matchups. Now, the first one involves my OBs, my very good friends, Henry and Subuga, and Pickle Chums, who are coming up against King Karisa and John Paul Basabose.
Wow.
A very, very interesting clash, because you have the backmarkers. The backmarker will be John Paul Basabose, who's played national team golf before. On his day, he can play handicap 0. He's a very good golfer. Doesn't play quite as often as he was, but if a guy has played handicap 0, there are always shades in him when he's swinging the ball. Then you have Kin Karisa, the CEO of Next Media. Kin is, like I said, a decent golfer, a solid golfer, and they've been very complimentary in their run up to the semi-finals. But they play a very stubborn pairing of Piccolo Luchamuzi, quite the soft-spoken Piccolo Luchamuzi. He's been like that all his life from the time when we met in Aminanga College. He's a man of few words, but he's very, very good, a very good elite sportsman. He played cricket, and even you can see his golf swing has got bits of cricket in him. And he's been impressive in the run-up to the semi-finals. And then Henry Nsubuga has come in handy when he's needed to. So the way match play works is that you play as a pairing, and you're competing against them. Sometimes I may play the whole better than my partner, and sometimes the guys who are playing against, one of them may have the better day than the partner. So you more or less want to be almost at par to carry one another to beat the pairing. So for both of them, Piccolo will need the best of Henry will need the best of Piccolo, and likewise Bassa will need the best of Kin, and Kin will need the best of Bassa. That for me is going to be the most spectacular of the two semi-finals. However, you also have the other one, the second semi-final, which involves the husband and wife couple, that is Ellis Katwevaze against Evelyn Katweva and Evelyn Katwevaze. The guys who beat us, Ellis and Evelyn, the Katwevazes. taking on Steven Chitamirike, the lefty, and his partner Charles Kabunga. So Steven and Charles have got higher handicaps. Ellis and Evelyn will be the ones who will be giving the strokes to the opponents. But there's everything to play for. I cannot say with certainty that Ellis and Evelyn are the overwhelming favorites against Steven Chitamirike and his partner Charles. So they're all close contests. They're tough games. And I'll be in Entebbe to see who's going to advance. Of course, there is also the subsidiary where we have winners across all the groups in B and C, and the side bets longest drive and nearest to the pin. Lastly, and arguably the biggest event happening in golf in the country this month, we have the final leg of the Pearl of Africa Golf Series, which is happening next week in Lugazi. It's going to attract the best golfers across the amateur and the professional categories. Of course, there is a kitty for the amateurs, and then there's a kitty for the professionals. The big news coming through is now you have many companies on board, obviously, so there's more sponsorship. You have MTN who've come in, you have Mighty Rads, you have IoTech, you have various other sponsors. But Ronald Rugumayo is in the country.
Wow, okay.
And Ronald Rugumayo is in the country because it's winter in South Africa right now. It's very cold, so you can't play golf in winter. All the courses are closed. And even though we've had some rain, it's still a dry season in Uganda right now. So Rugumayo is coming here to maintain himself to maintain his swing and to maintain his body, in that golf mode. So he's going to compete in this tournament. And every time you have Rugumayo, who is arguably the best golfer in the country, you're going to have some bit of stardust in that competition. Of course, he's going to be rivaled by some very good players. Kanari Kabise, the club pro of Lugazi, is there. You have Philip Kasozi, who's competed and done well at Lugazi this year. You have Marvin Max Chibirige, who won the first leg at UGC, missed the Entebbe leg because he was in Kenya competing. It will be a full draw of the best professional golfers. For the amateurs, we shall miss Joseph Reganakena, who is competing at his home ground, who would have been competing at his home ground, but is in the US to compete in the US Open Amateur Qualifiers. Okay. So he cannot take part. Had Reganakena been in Lugazi, he was going to win the tournament. He knows that course very well. He was born there. He understands the green, understands where not to miss, where to miss. He knows which shot to play on which hole. So without him, it's an open field. Do not disregard Antonio Tukey, the 16-year-old national team golfer who cared for Kenya in the Open, and many other Lugazi kids. I tend to front the Lugazi kids when I'm asked to pick the favorites over the other established elite amateurs who don't play Lugazi quite often, because Lugazi is, for me, arguably the hardest course to play in the country. You must be very fit. It has hills and valleys. It has huge greens, very wide greens. Sometimes you're putting from as far as 50 yards away, depending on where you've landed your shot. So it's the one course, in the words of Deco, Herman Mutebi Deco, who won the Entebbe Pearl of Africa series, where you have to think. You must have your thinking shoes on. It's not just about ball striking. You have to think. You have to play for position, for your tee shot, for your approach shot. So the Pearl of Africa Golf Series are going to happen in Lugazi. Please, I'm inviting Pearl, I'm inviting Mark for the upteenth time.
When is that?
To come there.
I'm definitely in Lugazi.
It's the better days to be in Lugazi will be Friday and Saturday, obviously, because there'll be a better party.
Days?
Next week. That's next week. It starts on Wednesday.
I'm in.
On 16th.
I'm in.
The tee off is on 16th for the amateurs and the professionals. The pros play for 4 days. So Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday will be the cut days, 16th and 17th. And then 18th, which will be Friday, will be a moving day, and 19th will be the final day.
Final day.
The amateurs are playing for 3 days. So if you want to see the Chunyais and Joseph Kasozis and Buddha, Abdallah Kakoza and Abdullah Kaketo, they can play for 3 days. That is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because they play for a smaller kitty and they are amateurs anyway. It's a course which is the hardest in Uganda, but for me, the most beautiful, because of the degree of the challenge that you must take on when you play in Lugazi?
I'm coming. I'm definitely coming. So Akena out, Rugumayo in.
Yes.
That's in summary. But
Yeah.
we'll be there. I'll be there for the final action, at least on the 19th. That's for sure. Yeah.
And Lugazi they've put together, they've prepared a brilliant 19th. A brilliant 19th.
No, I wasn't talking about the 19th hole. I was talking about the 19th date.
Okay.
But
So everything.
But either way.
So the 19th.
I'll be there on the 19th for the 19th.
The 19th, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mark, for that informative, moment